Hi out there. Oh, wait. I don't have to wear this because we're doing everything virtual today. So what I'm going to do is I have a Father's Day story that I'd like to read you. And it's actually very appropriate because it's a very gloomy, overcast, rainy kind of a day today. And today's story is about rain. It's called Rain, Rain, Go Away. The clouds were black over Gwenfiddle town. Rain had been falling for weeks. Blooper Street looked like a river these days, and all the town roofs had leaks. "We must get some answers. We must have some help," cried Buster of Buster and Brown. "If it doesn't stop raining," said Mr. McFoo, "there'll be no more Gwenfiddle town." "I call a town meeting," said Mayor Typhoon, "and I call it right here on the spot. We must ask the sage how to save our poor town. He will tell us what's right and what's not." "The sage, of course," cried Buster right out, in a way only lawyers can do. "I'll head the committee. We'll march to his cave, and then you can tell him, McFoo." "I'm just a poor miller," McFoo blurted out. "I don't know a thing about rain." "I'll do it," said the mayor. "I'll make it all work, and then I'll use it in my next campaign." "McFoo, you'll go with me, and so will you, Mr. Buster of Buster and Brown. We must show the sage we are all quite sincere about saving our Gwenfiddle town." So they climbed the great mountain just outside of town till they found that mysterious cave, that cavern of wonder, that black hole of hope, that den of the all-knowing sage. Got thick pages back then. No one's quite sure just who the sage is, nor where did he come from or when. He's lived on the mountain since time has begun and never comes out of his den. If you're searching for truth, then the sage is your man. But the truth isn't always so nice. He wants them to think for themselves if they can, and best if they always think twice. So come to him meek and with thinking caps on, and always be willing to try. Then truth will come forth from his dark, lonely cave at the top of Mount Always Ask Why. "Oh, please, mighty sage," the mayor began, "we come to you humbly and plain. Our town is all soggy, our spirits all wet. Please, can you make it not rain?" "Not rain?" cried a voice from inside the cave, and again even louder, "Not rain? You have to have water, for water is life. To make it not rain? Insane! Last summer you asked me to make it not hot, last winter to make it not cold, and now you're not happy with life-giving rain. You're either a fool or too bold. Stop trying to change the things you cannot and see them as gifts from above. There's a silver lining behind each cloud, and for every hawk there's a dove. Now gather round closely, I won't say it twice. I refuse to talk till I'm blue. For he who has ears will heed my advice and do all the things he must do. Seal off that street where the floodwaters gush. You don't use that road anyway. A lake will provide you with water for life on those terribly hot summer days. Try catching the water that falls from the sky, for rainwater's healthy and pure. And if you weren't lazy, those leaks would be fixed from the last time it rained, I'm sure." "I remember," McFoo said thoughtfully now, "my grandfather spoke of a pond where people could swim and be cooled from the heat. His memories were fond of that pond." "That's right," said the mayor. "I learned to swim there. I was little and didn't know how. But that lake was drained quite a long time ago. In fact, Blooper Street passes there now. Best water I've tasted," old Buster recalled, "was not from a pump or a well. It came from oak barrels Dad kept in the yard to catch the rain right where it fell." "And did your roofs leak each time that it rained?" the sage couldn't help but throw in. "Not mine, nor mine," the three men agreed. McFoo stroked his hand to his chin. "Progress is wonderful," the sage went on. "In fact, I think progress is grand. But progress and wisdom are two different things, and wisdom won't get out of hand. Now leave me in peace, you men of the town, and tend to the things you've been taught." But Mayor Typhoon had just one more thing. Would the sage give an answer? Might not. "What makes you so smart?" Typhoon blurted out. The sage raised his brow in surprise. "I had a great teacher," the sage did reply, "and he was the wisest of wise. He had all the answers to questions untold. The knowledge of thousands he knew, by reading their writings and hearing their words, and he spoke only when spoken to. For education is a lifelong chore, and a wise man absorbs all that stuff. He knew when to open his mouth and be heard, and shut it when he'd heard enough. He never mistreated unfortunate men, as his kindness was widely well known, but his fury was harsh on the criminal mind, and he squashed out the seeds they had sown. He taught me with firmness and vigor, my sons, but his love for me always came through. He'd have given his life to keep me from harm, and I would have given mine too. Who is this great teacher? We want to be taught, the three men wildly proclaimed. The sage knew that they just weren't listening still, so he tried one more time to explain. You've all had this teacher, believe it or not. We've each had our own chance to learn. Some of us only listened halfway, and some never gave him his turn. He's had many sizes and shapes, I suppose. He's had all the names to be had. There's Papa and Pappy and Father, of course, but personally, I prefer Dad. If your father's still living, go home to him now. If he's not, go home anyway. For it's never too late to get down on your knees and say thank you, or I love you, or Happy Father's Day.